In this video, I'll show you how to make this 3D hand animation. The animation is based on this picture. The technique I'm going to show you in this tutorial can be applied to any picture to turn it into a full 3D scene. Now before we start, first of all, I just dropped my community. The link is in the description down below. You can get editing jobs, 3D assets, all the good stuff there. Second of all, there's a link in the description of a waitlist. This waitlist is about a course that I'm thinking of dropping, a full 3D course you would learn exactly how to edit like me. If this waitlist performs well and a lot of people sign up, I'll actually make the course. So please check it out, read it through carefully and decide if this will be something for you. Now enough talking, let's get into the tutorial. Alright, now in After Effects, obviously as usual, you can do any settings here you want. I would recommend to go 30 frames or higher just to get a smooth animation. Now, oh shit. Now, the first thing obviously we're going to do is to import the photo that we want to turn into a 3D scene, obviously. In my case, this is this promotional photo from Apple. And what's always important when doing these types of editing is to take some parts out of the picture and to recreate some parts of your own, right? So what we are going to do in this case is we'll take that hand, because it's hard to find a hand picture that's actually this well, and we will replace the phone in here, because this way we will have much more control, and obviously we can also create a new scene. All right, so what we're going to do first is mask out the hand, or the object in general that you want to use based on the picture, in this case the hand. So I'll see you in a sec once I've done that. Before you continue to watch this tutorial, let me ask you something. Are you also an editor who has loads of work to show for but no actual portfolio website? Then let me introduce you to your savior, Framer. Framer is a no-code website builder which lets you build websites like PowerPoint. And even if you do not feel like creating a website from scratch, you can use free templates. Let me show you how to do that. Go to the Framer website, then click on Resources and Marketplace. And now you can search any website type that you want. You can filter for only free ones, for example, and then search for the template that you like. Load it into the editor, and now the world is yours. For example, you can change the image that is displayed on the website with images of your choice. You can also easily change text element as if it was PowerPoint. Well, maybe not something like that, but you get the picture. You can also create new pages and customize them to your liking easily as ever. With one click, you can publish your website. This is the best platform out there. Use code KRAM to get 10% off your first order. All right, now that we've masked this out, we can quickly generate or create a background. In this case, I would really suggest to make it similar to the background of the actual thing that you're replicating, because obviously the lighting, for example, on those hands fits perfectly to this sort of background, so we want to replicate that to a beneficial effect. So we're going to do just a solid, and then we're going to make a 4-color gradient. And if you recall, the Apple thing is white grayish, so we're just going to use different gray and white sounds, my bad, not sounds obviously, tones. What the fuck? And I mean, you can, it doesn't really matter, you can switch it up if you want to, but for tutorial's sake I think this one is actually fine. Yeah, something like that. And we're going to import that. And this already looks fine in my opinion. We're going to, I don't know why this is a 3D layer, but we're going to push that into the center where we actually want it. Center the anchor point to roughly here. Now, obviously, if we look at here again, we have a phone in between those hands. And this is going to be the actual tricky part. What you're going to do is you're going to import a font 3D model that you have. This 3D model that I'm using is I think in the Discord server, and this one is linked below. So it's called Flow State, as I told you in the intro. Go check it out. It will have a beneficial effect for your editing career, and you'll also find 3D models such as this. All right, now importing this, centering the anchor point. Now we're going to rotate this 180, and then as you can see, obviously we can't control the screen right now, and this will be not too good. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new comp. We'll call this comp screen. Width, I know it by heart, but for this is in case this is the iPhone 17 Pro, so it's 12.6 by 2622. Now we're going to double click here with the rounded rectangle tool. Make sure that a stroke is here, that a fill is here, and disable the stroke. And then we're going to push the roundness to roughly about here. I mean, this is going to be a little bit of tweaking, and this is fine for now. This is just a placeholder. So we'll import the screen comp in here, make this also a 3D layer. Go to our 3D view, and then push this forward that it's, as soon as you're right here, it touches, or it is in front. That's fine, and then we'll scale this down to the actual size of the phone, and then we'll see if or tweak it as much as we can until it fits. And as you can see, the roundness here is too much, so we're going to go back into the comp and reduce this a little. Yeah, that sounds good, or looks fine. Then we'll pan the screen to the phone, and now once we rotate the phone, screen moves with us, and we can customize the screen, right? So that's how we're doing this. Now the tricky part is to actually now align the phone with the hands. First of all, you're going to create a new null, because controlling things with a null is always easier than controlling or making animations with, for example, just the GLB instead of it being controlled by a my bad, I forgot to talk, controlled by a null. Now, as we can see, the first issue is the hands are not 3D. So we're going to have to change that. We will pre-compose this and call this hands, because otherwise the masks will disappear as soon as we'll make this layer 3D. Then we will 3D the hands layer, and now we can see it here. And now this is obviously where the tricky part begins. And for this, I would actually advise you to import the base thing that you're replicating, right? Because you can just, you know, it's going to be too difficult. You can just, you know, match it. Right, this fits roughly, so we'll have to rotate the phone a little bit more, even more. You know, as you can see, this is just tweaking till it fits. Now we have an issue here, because as you can see, the phone is here wider than on the top, because, or that's because of camera lens distortion. So we're going to create a camera, and we're going to make this, I think maybe just 20 millimeters for now. We're going to, as you can see now, this is much better. Because we have the same sort of effect here. If that's already enough, I cannot tell you. This is why I told you we'll have to try this out, because it's going to be a huge mess. No, that's maybe too much. 24. Right here, something like this. And now we're sort of getting to it. However, I still don't really like the look. So we got one, or I actually got one trick up my sleeve to make this work. Go into the hands composition, and then we're going to duplicate this. And then obviously this is divided by two masks, so one for the right, one for the left. We're going to delete on the first one the left mask, and on the bottom one we're going to delete the right mask. So we have the two individual masks. Now we're going to apply a warp effect on the first one. And as you can see, this is going to be really difficult, but with this we can bend it however we like. Also distort it in this way and this way, and this is what we actually want, because we have to make it go rather in on the inside, because now as you can see it fits. Maybe that was a little bit too much, so maybe just -5. Yeah, that's okay. And yeah, now we have something which can actually be used. Let me push it a little bit further. And then we have the same issue again. Right. Alright, now this is something which actually, in my opinion, looks quite realistic. As if it was actually holding the phone. Now, obviously, we're going to make a new null 3D and pen the camera to it, because because trying to move a camera is absolute hell. So we're going to make that with a null. But as you can see, as soon as you move or animate anything, obviously the edges are visible. That's why I told you before, take or mask just as little as possible, because otherwise this is going to be a mess, as you can see here. For now, I guess it's fine if we move that individually, you know. That is actually in the center, right? Now, as you already saw right now, animating this is going to be very, very difficult. However, there are some techniques which can be used. Now, obviously, the null where the camera is on, we're going to keyframe that completely with all the attributes that we need. And now we can, as you can see, we can't move in this sort of axis because that will give it away completely. What we can do is a little bit, as you can see, move in this axis a little bit. And obviously in this axis we can, but in my opinion it doesn't look good. So we're going to use the x-axis a little bit. We're going to start maybe with something like this. And then we're going to move this, or that's actually by default already rotating like this. We can push that one. Oh shit. And we can move this one maybe a little bit like this, just ever so slightly, because as soon as we mess up, we will see directly our mistakes. But just from a picture, we got to generate this animation, which actually looks, in my opinion, quite clean. Obviously, we'll have to ease and adjust the graphs and stuff like that. But this is still, in my opinion, the best way, because now, since we've recreated the phone, we have an element which actually moves as it should, and the hands are sort of, we can push away the focus from that. The hands are not moving entirely correct, but as you can see, if you do ever so slightly movements, that doesn't really matter because people do not recognize. Obviously this is sort of a sketchy technique, but it's something that actually works, and it's something that is quite useful, especially if you have inspiration, for example, and you want to recreate something like this, but you do not have the models of the perfect hands, because this is something to actually, which is not possible by acquiring, for example, free models. Freehand models are always horrible in my opinion. Obviously now we can completely customize the screen pre-comp. Now we can, for example, import the lock screen of the iOS 26 update, and then we will apply the track matte to the shape layer that we created, so we will automatically get that shape. And now we already have something, in my opinion, which looks quite nice. Obviously we can tweak this a little bit with, for example, lighting, so adding an environment light, and then adding a HDRI. Already makes it look much better. And now, obviously, there are minor things we could tweak. So for example, adding text up here as I did in my video. We're going to make a new pre-comp. I'll just call that text, but actually doesn't matter. 2000 by 1000. Now, what I did was, the basic text was "Hey Siri." Okay. And obviously this looks horrendous because we'll have to use the SF Pro font, because that's the official Apple font. We're going to use the bold one, and "Hey Siri," and then 3 dots. And then first of all, I always like to separate, because now we can actually animate them individually. Now align them. First of all, move the "hey" here. What the hell is happening? "Hey Siri," and then go something like this. Now to animate this, you can go into animate position and animate opacity. Set the opacity to 0, position to 100. Go down to the range selector. In advanced, we'll leave the characters. We will put this to ramp up. We will set this to -50. We will put this to 100, and then we'll animate the offset from -100 to 100. This is too fast, but you'll get the picture. This is too slow. Just tweak it. Just tweak it a little bit. Maybe adding motion blur. And then we can also graph this. No, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then we'll copy this animator, put it on the Siri one. And this is obviously too slow. Hey Siri, and then copy this and put it on the dots. This is too static still. So we're going to adjust this a little bit, the keyframes. That is, "Hey Siri." Maybe push this a little bit back. Now, if you want that the Siri has, for example, a gradient on it, what I always do is add a solid layer, scale that down to roughly, what my text is that I want to cover with it. Then adding a 4-color gradient. Let's just leave it in these colors because actually they're fine in my opinion. And then we're going to add or set the track matte of the white solid to the text that we want to display. Voila. Maybe, yeah, that looks a little bit ugly, so trying something like this. I don't even know, it doesn't matter, but yeah. This is not the Apple colors, obviously you just have to research for that, but for tutorial's sake it doesn't really matter. So I guess that's fine. Now, as we can see here, this is how I did it, the actual animation. Now finally we can add this comp into here, make it a 3D layer. In our 2U mode, maybe adjust the rotation a little bit, the positioning, you know, the typical stuff. Now if we re-watch what we've just created, we've created basically a whole 3D animation based off a picture in a matter of roughly 20 minutes or something like that. In my opinion, that's a pretty cool tool to use in one of your videos, because it enables you to use cool stuff from other people and put your own spin around it in a matter of minutes. That's something, in my opinion, a technique to actually keep in your back pocket, because it will help you many times, in my opinion. All right, let's watch this. Boom. Clean animation. I like this. And if we look at the hands, obviously a little bit scuffed, but the average viewer will not notice. And this is a technique that you can use always in any of these videos. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out the waitlist down below. Make sure to check out the Discord link down below. And make sure to check out Framer, who sponsored this video. I appreciate you guys watching. See you in the next one.